Hello, fellow hunters. My name is Risic, and today I wanted to talk about multiplayer etiquette in Monster Hunter. And what is etiquette? Etiquette is the customary code of polite behavior in society or among members of a particular profession or group. Now, there's going to be a lot of new folks coming into the series with Monster Hunter Wilds, and I wanted to share a few unspoken and some spoken rules when it comes to playing online with other people, just to make sure everybody has a good time. First and foremost is to obviously be nice and be patient with people who aren't as skilled at the game as maybe you are. Provide constructive criticism. Don't be rude to them. It's a cooperative game, and everybody's going to be at a different skill level. By providing constructive criticism, you can help them become a stronger hunter and eliminate any issues you might have with them right then and there. Next, don't use any cheats or mods that are going to affect other players in online hunts, like the one-shots or increasing your damage where you kill the monster really quickly. I've seen some that import movesets from other games. Like there was one mod I saw that was the Rise Longsword in Monster Hunter World. That caused all sorts of issues. And even some stuff that might not directly affect people, like the DPS meter mods. You don't need to go into a hunt and tell everybody how much they contributed unless they ask. That's just not really necessary. Next, if somebody mounts a monster, especially a flying monster, don't flash it. It's not going to go anywhere. This is going to be the time you can sharpen your weapons, top up on your healing potions, eat any items that you might need. Use that time and let them finish the mount, because when they get to finish the mount, that allows for a longer damage window. And so it benefits you not to flash the monster. Plus, it kind of ruins the fun of mounting the monster. Next, when you're in a public lobby, work with other people and take turns with your quests. Don't just go in there, get your quest done, and pop out. Help other people with their quests. Return the favor, even go above and beyond, and you can really make friends that way. And while you are helping somebody on a quest, unless it's specified by the person posting the quest, don't just assume and try to capture the monster. Let the person posting the quest decide how to finish the quest, whether that be capture or slay. They might be just trying to clear the quest, and that's fine. But they could be farming for materials that maybe they need to slay. And the same goes the other way. If they're trying to capture the monster and the monster's weak and ready to capture, don't keep hitting it, because sometimes it will accidentally die. And different parts that you need from the monster have different drop rates depending on if you capture or slay it. So that's why that's actually an important bit to keep in mind. If you see the monster is falling asleep, and you'll know because it'll start to kind of fumble around and music will stop, it'll stop attacking. If you see that the monster's going to sleep, stop hitting it. Same thing with like the mounts. Take that time to set your bombs down on it, sharpen, re-up any buffs you have, but quit hitting it. This is an opportunity for the team to come together, take a breather. And that actually leads me into my next point. Don't just randomly start hitting the monster once it falls asleep or you set the bombs. The strategy is typically to let whatever weapon would have the highest single hit. So Greatsword's always going to be at the top of that list. And then you have hammer, etc. Or somebody's got wyvern fire on heavy bowgun or something like that. Just whatever's going to have the biggest single hit is usually going to lead the charge on that, because your wake-up hits get double damage. So a greatsword's going to do a whole heck of a lot more damage than somebody with dual blades, for example. And speaking of greatsword and hammer, be mindful of your positioning and when you're using moves that can launch your teammates or knock over your teammates. And they've mitigated this somewhat in Wilds, but it's still something you want to watch out for, because the skill flinch free doesn't prevent you from being absolutely launched or knocked down by stuff. So certain attacks with, say, a hammer, your golf swing where you swing up, that can be really problematic, especially if everybody's crowding around the head. And skill mitigations all are going to do so much unless they introduce something crazy in Wilds. And it's not just the hammer. You also see this with wyvern fire from like your gun lance, or if you have cluster bombs from a heavy bowgun. That's not fun to be on the receiving end of, especially cluster bombs. One that hasn't come up in past games, but I think might be something we need to look out for in Wilds, is to be mindful of wounds in the wounding system. I imagine, like with wake-up hits, there's going to be a hierarchy that forms around who gets priority on wounds just because of different mechanics the different weapons have. So that's something to be mindful of when you're playing with a friend that might get a benefit to their weapon kit from hitting wounds. Next, if you're joining a quest to help low-rank hunters and you're using high-rank gear, don't do that. Go into the quest with low-rank gear because you're just going to melt the monster. And if they're already calling for help on a low-rank quest, you're really not doing them any favors. It sounds crazy. I know you're trying to help them, but you're actually ruining the Monster Hunter experience for them. They don't learn the lessons they'll need to learn to build a good foundation. So really, in the long run, you're harming them by just nuking everything for them. And that's the same thing with what I said earlier about cheating. It ruins the fun if you just kill everything in 2 or 3 hits. And the last point I'm going to touch on here is make an effort. It's okay to fail. Just don't let yourself get carried. And by that, I don't mean, maybe somebody might do better than you. I mean, don't just sit in the tent or run like a wide-range corner horning set and just sit there and pretend to play. Actually engage with the game. I mean, if you're not going to play, what's the point of even playing? You're not having a good experience yourself, and you're ruining the experience for everybody else that is trying to make up for your lack of trying. There's being less skilled, and maybe other people might have to compensate, and that's okay. That's just part of co-op games. But if you're just sitting in the tent or not even trying at all, why are you here? So to summarize everything, be mindful of other people's experience when you're playing online. That's the biggest thing. We want to work together. This is a big, welcoming community, and it's about to get a whole lot bigger. And so let's do our best to welcome the new players in. And new players, present this guide to help you fit right in with the online experience. Because as an online co-op game, we have to work together, and how we act shapes the experience of others, and that shapes our own experience. So being mindful of etiquette in Monster Hunter just make sure that everyone is able to have a good time. Ballast of the Brave.